Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well today. Whoops. Welcome back to my blog for today. I found an interesting article about depression that I wanted to read from. I couldn't think of anything to do, and then I was like, well, I'm feeling depressed, so let's look up depression. So I found this article that says, what are the types of depression? And first it says, depression is one of the most common mental health conditions in the United States. There are several different types of depression. Then it goes on to say, people with depression experience distinct periods lasting 2 weeks of sadness, low energy, and loss of interest in things they once enjoyed. People sometimes refer to these periods as depressive episodes, which is what I'm going through right now. I know that because when it talked about doing things I once enjoyed, I enjoyed the heck out of working on my web development class. I had 5 notebooks filled with notes when I was working on that class, and I don't know what happened, but I suddenly just stopped working on it and I lost interest in it. And when I first started it, I worked on it like night and day, or day and night, or however you want to say it. But that's how I know I'm in the middle of a depressive episode. It makes everything tougher. I mean, I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. That's a huge part of depression. It's not laziness. Make no mistake about that. So let's see what else it says. The experience of depression can vary significantly among individuals. For example, it may cause some people to oversleep, and others to sleep very little. It can go either way. Each type of depression can have distinct symptoms and effects. Okay. So major depressive disorder is a classic form of depression. People with major depression experience symptoms that may include sadness, feelings of guilt, worthlessness, and hopelessness, difficulty sleeping, changes in appetite, fatigue, which I experience every day. I have chronic fatigue because of the depression. Irritability. I don't really get irritated. I'm kind of just a fairly passive person. I don't really, I try not to let things irritate me. So, feeling empty, and then of course the last one is thoughts of suicide, which is one symptom that's really alarming and needs to be brought up in conversation. If somebody's having thoughts of suicide, they should get help immediately. Depression can also cause physical symptoms such as aches and pains. It can affect thoughts and concentration and lead to difficulties in making decisions and remembering things. All things I experience on a daily basis. And no, I'm not just saying that. I'm serious. If people know me, they know how bad my memory is. That, and I'm a really indecisive person. I have a hard time making decisions about a lot of things. So it goes on to say, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH, approximately 17.3 million adults in the U.S. experienced at least one episode of major depression in 2017. This number equates to 7.1% of all U.S. adults. Major depressive disorder appears to be more common among women and in those in between the ages 18 and 25 years old. Then there's persistent depressive disorder. People with persistent depressive disorder have 2 symptoms of depression that last for 2 years or more. Other names for this condition include dysthymia and dysthymic disorder. And again, I'll put a link to this article in my description so you guys can read more. I'm not going to read the entire article, it would take forever, but then there's postpartum and perinatal depression. Postpartum depression refers to depression that develops within the first year of giving birth. It differs from the baby blues, which is a phenomenon that affects up to 80% of mothers after giving birth. There's also major depressive disorder with psychotic features. Psychotic depression occurs when an individual has severe depression alongside psychosis. The revisions to the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders have changed the name of this condition to major depressive episode, with the specifier with psychotic features. People with psychosis may have false beliefs, delusions, or hear or see things that are not happening, hallucinations. Then there's one that is known as seasonal affective disorder, previously known as seasonal affective disorder, SAD. Major depressive disorder with seasonal patterns is a type of depression that occurs in the winter months. It's far more common in areas that are farther away from the equator. Well, I know from living here that we have more, how can I say it? We have more winter months than we do summer months. That means the sun's not out as much as in other places, that are south or west or whatever. And depression in the winter is very common here. Very common. I was on vitamin D, I think, like 50,000 international units. I think they took me off of it for some reason. I can't remember. But yeah, people seriously get depressed around here in the winter, and they try to use. I know some people have those what are they called, the happy lights, where it has all different kinds of lights. I don't know if you call them shades of light or whatever, but they're supposed to help with depression. I myself have never used one, but I've seen them before, and I know people who have them, and they've told me it helps. I personally think that it's not. It wouldn't be an effective way to cure your depression or anything like that, just from shining a light on your face. But that's me. That's my opinion. So let's see. SAD causes symptoms similar to those in other forms of depression, including anxiety, fatigue, and weight gain. The American Psychiatric Association reported that SAD affects approximately 5% of people in the U.S. Experts believe that SAD occurs in some people due to lack of natural light. Right. However, they do not know why it affects some people and not others. Symptoms typically last from early winter to spring. So then there's situational depression. Excuse me. Situational depression or adjustment disorder occurs in some people who experience a traumatic life-altering event. Doctors diagnose it more often in children and adolescents. Examples of some such events include divorce, being the victim of a violent crime, job loss, bereavement, and chronic illness. And then there's another one that goes on to say, major depressive disorder with atypical features. Atypical depression is a form of depression in which symptoms differ from usual symptoms of depression. Doctors do not understand this form of depression as well as they do other types. They may diagnose it as major depressive disorder with atypical features. One key feature of atypical depression is that the person's mood temporarily lifts when something positive happens. Doctors call this mood reactivity. Researchers state that a person must have two or more of the following symptoms in addition to mood reactivity to suggest a diagnosis of atypical depression: significant weight gain, increase in appetite, hypersomnia or sleeping too much, leading paralysis or feeling of the heaviness in the limbs of the body, sensitivity to rejection from others that result in significant social problems or issues at work. So I thought that was interesting. It also says here, older research indicates that atypical depression typically has a high prevalence rate, starts when a person is younger and lasts longer than other types of depression. It is more common in those with bipolar disorder and anxiety disorders. So you can see the article continues to go on and speaks about diagnosis, treatment, medication, psychotherapy, and other treatments, and also when to see a doctor. It's a fairly long article, so I'm not gonna, like I said, read through the whole one. I just want to hit on some bullet points. But depression is like a serious thing, and it's one of those things that I'm sure that other people out there like me who have like chronic depression or clinical depression, that you've had people say, oh, snap out of it, you'll be all right. I wish it was that easy. It's like you can't force yourself to be happy. If you're depressed, you're going to be depressed. Um, it's just not something that goes away right away or whatever. I've been feeling this way for at least a month now. I know that because I still don't have my motivation back. I've been trying to force myself to do stuff. It's very difficult. The only thing I can think about is sleeping, and it's really, it makes everything tough. Like, I got work tonight too, and I'm worried that I'm gonna struggle through the night because I'm always tired and I'm always depressed. So I wouldn't say always depressed. I'd say within the past month it's been, I don't know, the majority of the time I've been feeling very depressed for many reasons. And I try to not let it get to me, especially when I have to go into work. Especially on days like that, like I can't let that get the best of me at work, because I have to, I have to perform to an expectation for my job. So I have to really kind of fight and battle the depression, and it makes the night very difficult for me. That's one of those invisible parts of mental illness that people will say, oh, everybody gets depressed. It's like, yeah, try being depressed for like a month or two. It's just not something that's easily dealt with. But I don't know. I thought the article was interesting. I think it's good for people to learn about depression and its many forms. I'm trying to help convey more information to out to the public by reading articles like this. I think it's important for people to know how serious depression can be. It can be moderate, and it can be fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? It can be mild to moderate to extreme. Extreme is when you really got to start worrying, like they said, thoughts of suicide. Once that starts happening because of your depression, that's when you really need to go get help. You should go get help before that happens. Not even just a therapist. If you don't see one already, just mention to your doctor that you're feeling depressed, and because there might be something more to it, and they may be able to help you. So, in closing, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I hope I could, I can't talk today. I hope that I was able to educate some of you on depression and its many forms. Please check out the article in the link or in the description below. It's a good read. Like I said, there was more to it, but I didn't want to fill up the whole time with just reading from the article. I want to talk about it too. So I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said before, that's it for me for now. And leave me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe. I really need the help with that. I appreciate any feedback and any feedback in any shape or form. So I'm going to leave off here and try to shut up because I'm rambling again. But that's it for me for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.